Welcome to the Engineering Society debates for the Engineering Society elections for 2021-2022. Wow, time flies. So before we get started, I will maybe introduce the elections team and myself, and then I'll go over the rules of the debates for the participants, the candidates, one more time. And then we can start off with our first position, which is Vice President of Operations. So I will introduce myself first. Hello, everyone. My name is Zaid Qasim. I am this year's speaker for the Engineering Society Council, and I am also the Chief Electoral Officer. So I am joined by Gideon, the CRO, Andrew, the DRO. I'm joined by the Director of Governance, Thomas, and I'm also joined by the VPSA, Alex, and I'm not sure if the other members of the committee are here as well, but they're also here, I think. Regardless. So I'm going to now go over the rules of the debate very quickly, just so everyone at home watching has an idea of what to expect, and then we'll get started. So debates will be run as a question and answer period. Each candidate will get a 5-minute opening and a 5-minute close. I will be timing, and I will be very, very strict on that time. Debates will be conducted by myself, obviously. Prior to the debate, questions have been submitted through an online form, and they have been selected by the Elections Committee. So I do have my list of questions in front of me, so that's good. The speaker, myself, I reserve the right to not allow a question, but I mean, I've already sifted through all the questions, so that's fine. The decision of who will start first will be decided by picking a name out of a hat. I already did random generator name thing, so I already know who's going first. I'll reveal that when we get to it. Closing remarks will be in the reverse order of the opening remarks. There will be a rotation between which candidate answers the question first. Candidates will have a maximum of 3 minutes for every question. And a candidate has the option to ask myself for rebuttal. So the rules for a rebuttal, a maximum of 1 rebuttal is allowed per question. And each candidate will be given an additional turn to speak after the rebuttal. So someone has a rebuttal, then the other opponent also gets an opportunity to speak as well. Rebuttal can only take place after all candidates have answered the question. So hold your horses. Let's make sure everyone has the chance to talk, and then I'll take some rebuttals. The debates must be filmed, so this is recorded and will be put on Facebook. So y'all at home, if you missed something, you can always watch it afterwards. And yes, if the debate is held online, all candidates are responsible for sourcing their own microphone, webcam, reliable internet connection. I see you guys are here, so that's a good thing. Fantastic. So let's get started, everyone. So we are going to start off first with the Vice President of Operations position. So our 2 candidates are Ben Frosst and Salma Ibrahim. So I threw the names in the word name generator, and Salma, you are going first. So wait, I actually didn't get my timing thing up really quick. So unorganized. I need to be able to time you. Okay, cool. Timer. Okay, cool. Salma, your 5-minute opening starts now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you to the audience for tuning in, to Speaker Qasim and the Elections Committee. Thank you for the hard work that you all put towards making this happen, especially considering the online limitations. My name is Salma Ibrahim, and I'm running to be the next Vice President of Operations. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself to you all and talk about my experience working in EngSoc. I'm currently in my 3rd year of computer engineering, and I came to Canada for the first time ever in 2018 as an international student. In first year, I was elected for my first EngSoc position as a webmaster on first year exec, where I got to work with some of the greatest people who I still work with today, and we developed Sci22's first website. While working with this great group, I began attending council sessions and occasionally proxying for voting members, and this is what really sparked my interest in student government. I was moved by the passion that my fellow engineering students displayed when it came to advocating for their groups, from first-year executives to discipline clubs, and I really enjoyed listening, learning, and participating in these spirited debates, which showed just how important student advocacy and diversity of thought is. Because of this, I ran for AMS representative in second year, and I was also hired as a finance officer under last year's director of finance, who taught me almost everything I know today about the Engineering Society financial processes and how the Bank of EngSoc operates. And this motivated me to pursue the director of finance position that I hold this year, where I was able to continue the improvements to EngSoc financial processes and the Bank of EngSoc, such as changes that were made this year to bursary policy, working with the director of social issues, creating more impactful finance training, and soon to come changes to affiliated group debt policy. We needed to adapt all our financial processes to the pandemic, which just over a year ago, were completely manual and paper-based. We had a great advantage in that the process of automating all these tasks started a year before the pandemic hit through the Bank of EngSoc. And although a lot of changes were made to better EngSoc's future financial situation, there's still a ways to go, especially when it comes to completing EngSoc's past review engagements and also improving the financial situation of the services. And this is one of the reasons I decided to run for VPOPS, because I believe my experience as both finance officer in 2019 and director of finance in 2020 will give EngSoc a major advantage and lead when it comes to reintroducing in-person activities for next year. My platform focuses on three main aspects that will be essential in our operations next year. One, planning to transition back to in-person events, which will include working extensively with the university and faculty to ensure we're doing that safely, strategically, and conscientiously. And this will mean a lot for our services, especially since they will need major support when it comes to transitioning. Two, working with service managers and advisory board to improve our long-term planning for the services. Our biggest issue is being able to stay on top of our strategic plans, so I hope to work with them closely to ensure we're doing that. Three, continuing to improve and automate our financial processes, especially e-transfer reimbursements, which are currently extremely time-consuming and tedious for VPOPS and slow and efficient for our affiliated groups. I plan on improving this by implementing better communication with our client service officer at BMO, who can really guide us on the best way we can improve reimbursements for our businesses and for EngSoc affiliated groups. In addition, I want to play a more hands-on role in IT portfolio and ensure that projects that make the engineering experience so much more impactful, such as EngSoc Dash, are being transitioned well, and that people are really working on their passion projects here, because that's where great products stem from. The internal processes portfolio will need lots of support as well. Hopefully, it'll be the first year being in person. I want to focus on making that portfolio more resilient, with more focus on automation, so that even if we are online, the portfolio isn't affected by a lack of access to spaces. I'm really excited for this debate, and I hope to touch on all these aspects in greater detail throughout. Thank you, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Salma. Ben, you're up.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Benjamin Frosst. I'm a Sci 2-2 in engineering physics, and I am running for the Vice President of Operations. Vice President of Operations has been a goal of mine for a very long time, ever since I discovered what the position was working under Jin Ho in my first year. I've been involved in the Engineering Society every year I've been at Queens. In first year, I, on a whim, applied to FC as the finance manager for orientation week. Honestly, didn't think I would get it. I had no prior experience, and I absolutely fell in love with the position. I discovered that I really enjoy EngSoc finances and dealing with EngSoc finance policy. I spent way more time in this role than I should have, just because I enjoyed it so much, and it was really passionate for me, and I really enjoyed the work I was doing, and that led to me running for more finance positions in the future. I joined QESI, which is the board of directors for the bookstore at Queens, as the chair of finance, where I learned things about financial accountability, financial policy, financial auditing methods, and it gave me great insight into how finances work in businesses exterior to the Engineering Society, and how we could potentially take what we do at the Engineering Society right now and further it to become a more modern, and like financial service. So along with that, I've also done stuff with automation. My job last summer was a business process development officer. I worked for one of the school boards in Ottawa, automating processes between different teams within that school board to make things easier for everybody involved. I've also done web development in IT, which I think would be very beneficial when dealing with the director of IT and their extended portfolio. And I've been involved with the EngSoc services. I worked in one of the services as an icon, and I've been part of some design teams. I think this broad range of experience caters very well to the VPOPS portfolio. I think I could use these skills to continue to improve the workload that the managers and directors take on while transitioning from a virtual to in-person operations. My platform, unsurprisingly and somewhat unfortunately, focuses on COVID as its first pillar. With COVID, I would like to work with faculty, the AMS Pres, AMS VPOPS, the building administrators and university administrators to start reopening some of the services that have been closed for the last year or are yet to open this year. Those three services are Clark Hall, the Icons, and Science Quest. I think Clark could be opened safely if the correct measures are taken. This will have to happen at some point in some limited capacity, and I think it can be done safely as long as we take the correct approach. Icons in the ILC, that space is beloved by a lot of engineering students, and it being closed this past year has been sad. A lot of other buildings on campus, like software, have been opened, so I think this is a very viable option for the Engineering Society to not only increase academic success, but also help students socially, in terms of mental health, in terms of regaining some of that engineering spirit that I think we've seen die this past year. I also, if I am elected as VPOPS, hope to work with the current exec to watch how Science Quest reacts to the changing circumstances that are COVID over this summer. I want to work closely with them as I transition into my role, using Science Quest as a great tool to not only learn how COVID affects things, but learn what we've been doing so far to implement COVID plans. The last part of my COVID plan is to make large logistical plans for the next VPOPS if all of my COVID planning fails, which could likely happen given how quickly we've seen things can change with respect to COVID. So I will be developing, if I am elected, a platform and logistical plans for all of the managers and businesses so that we can easily and smoothly transfer between virtual and in-person operations. My last two pillars focus a lot on long-range planning, data analytics, and increased process automation. These are two things that I really think would be beneficial both to in-person activities and virtual activities within the Engineering Society, and they're both very easy to do in either an in-person environment or a virtual environment. So for long-range planning, as a finance manager, I met with the advisory board when I was in first year developing my preliminary budget, and they gave me some good advice, but I was really hoping when I met with them, they would be able to give me more actionable advice that was dated.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Thank you for that opening, everyone. Sorry for cutting you off. That's just the rule of the game. All right, so we're gonna get on to questions. I will, again, I'm gonna ask a question. Salma, you'll start first, and then each question moving on forward, then it'll be Ben first, and then you first, and cool. So first question, oh, and you have 3 minutes instead of 5, so for each question and rebuttal if you guys want one. First question is talk about one actionable item for each of your campaign pillars and describe them in detail. Your time starts now.
Thank you for that question. It's a great one. So for my first pillar, transitioning back to in-person events, that's very actionable. Hopefully, we're already starting to see the university open up spaces slowly, such as when we introduced the icons to Mitchell Hall. Hopefully, we can also do that with the ILCs, introduce icons there and have a limited number of people come in and use the ILC like we would normally do. For my second pillar, which is working with service managers and advisory board to figure out long-term planning, this is something that everyone works on every year, and I hope that I can communicate with them in an effective way so that we can figure out where we can improve our long-term planning so that we are sustainable and we are viable and all our businesses can thrive in the future for years and years to come. And continuing to improve and automate our financial processes. There's so many endless possibilities with the SharePoint site and the Bank of EngSoc and our bookkeeping site. We can improve things for our service managers so that it's easier for them to do their job. We can improve things for our bookkeeper so that it's easier for her to update our QuickBooks, make it quicker for affiliated groups to see all their transactions happening in real time. These are things that are possible, but we just need to kind of get to it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ben, you're free to go.
Okay, yeah, so my first pillar, which was COVID, obviously the most actionable thing there is clearly that transition plan that I was talking about. So building out those documents to help the managers who may have never worked or seen those services run in person be able to move from virtual to in-person activities. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for this coming VPOPS is filling that knowledge gap between how we were before COVID and coming out of it after COVID. There's an entire year of people who have never seen what those services were like before, and just filling that gap is going to be one of the biggest problems. So building those transition plans is one of my key goals, one of my key actionable goals for my platform. So in terms of long-range planning, data-driven advice from the advisory board, I want to supply the advisory board with things like reports from QuickBooks for each of the services, help them give better long-term advice to business managers. Say, hey, here's where we've looked at your finances. I think you're spending too much money here. I think you're going to have problems here and build up debt. I think your prices might be a little high and you'll run into issues. That's what I want to see come from the advisory board. And that's what I didn't see come from the advisory board when I was a finance manager in first year. And in terms of automation, which was unfortunately the pillar I didn't manage to get to, I want to expand the portfolio of the director of internal processes and put a small team of people underneath them that will go to each of the services, conferences, and clubs and automate processes for them. Make the lives of the people running the engineering society easier, will make everything the engineering society does for the student population better and more accessible.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So at this time, I'll take a rebuttal if either of you are interested. If not, though, I'm free to go on to the next question. No? Okay. Great. Well, the next question then is, because of COVID-19, transition issues will permeate throughout the society. None of the executives, directors, or outgoing managers have ran in-person events, ran the services with the exception of the tea room, or gained experience that is essential to running things in person for the upcoming year. Given the fact that transition is already an ongoing problem within the engineering society, how will you combat this within yourself, your directors, and your services? Ben, you have the time.
Yeah, so that's an amazing question, and definitely I think something that a lot of people have been thinking about, including myself. I know that even VPOPS is going to have a knowledge gap coming into this year. I think what I would like to do if I am elected is encourage people from the past 2 years of both manager teams, exec and directors to all work together to help build out this COVID transition plan that I was talking about earlier. Help me write those manuals so that we can make that transition as easy as possible. I want to involve as many people as I possibly can. So I'm going to be basically encouraging those past managers who ran the services in person to almost act as mentors, maybe even meeting on a semi-monthly or monthly basis with the current or with the new team of managers and directors to help them and ask them, like, how are things going? Are you struggling with anything that your upper maybe didn't know that you would struggle with that I can help you with? I think that create a lot of beneficial change. I also want to make sure that people are comfortable like talking to each other and reaching out to other people for help. So maybe this is something I want to encourage in the ED team if I'm elected, is having people willing to go to their friends or their coworkers and get help when they need it. I think that'd be a very positive environment that has kind of maybe been a little bit sapped by COVID as well, just because those connections and those friendships haven't been made within the ED team. I yield my time. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Salma, it's your turn to go.
This is a great question. I think the first and most important step is to establish great communication with the people that we hire. If elected, I would hire all the director positions, and they would hire their positions under their portfolios. And it's very important to establish great communication between me and those people, and establish emergency communication for in case there's any issues, especially with the services and transitioning. There needs to be a way to hold people accountable in that we need to communicate well with the outgoing team and the incoming team to make sure that the outgoing team is transitioning the incoming team in a way that is effective and not just like, hey, here's your transition manual, you do your thing. We need to make sure that those people are held accountable by speaking with the current executive, the outgoing executive, and making sure that we're all on the same page and that we want the society to be as great as it can possibly be. And the only way to do that is if we help each other. Another way to do this is also to establish like a task force early on where we can speak to people who have been in the position when it was in person, and those people they haven't disappeared, they're still here. We can still talk to them. They will, I'm sure anyone who works in the engineering society would be more than willing to help make it better. And we can establish that level of communication where not only your upper is helping you, but you have like a second upper, which is your grand upper. And those people would work together to the COVID aspect of your position and also the in-person aspect of your position. And on top of that, having timely meetings with all people, having whether it's weekly with the exec and your directors or quarterly with the service managers or anything like that. We need to set expectations on what our transition has to look like, especially in such a volatile time, and we need to stabilize that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Again, I will take rebuttal now if any of you is interested. I'll take that as a no. Okay, so the next question, shout out, it is from this year's current Vice President of Operations, Ben. If the university were to deny Clark Hall Pub and Tea Room's requests to reopen in the 2021-2022 year, how would you deal with this? Salma, you have the time.
So hopefully, if I'm elected as Vice President of Operations, I will be hiring some great directors, including Director of Services, and we will be hiring great service managers and head managers. And they will be it's on that management team to implement their vision. And so when we hire these people, they need to also have like a vision for what would happen if those services aren't able to operate in person. So I want to like work with the service managers so that they can implement their vision, and and hopefully they are able to run in person. But if not, we have alternatives such as in-person activities and anything Clark Hall can do that is online. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ben, you have the time.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to start by talking about Clark first. I think something great about Clark and everybody's first introduction to Clark is when they teach you the engineering dance in first year. I think that's a great way of getting the word out that the place actually exists, because if it wasn't running in person, a lot of people wouldn't know that. I think basically what it's going to be is constant reevaluation of circumstances. COVID has been shown to change very quickly in the world stage. One day, you're allowed to go downtown, socially distanced at a bar. The next day, you're at a stay-at-home order. So it's a constant reevaluation of what we're allowed to do, and going back to the university and being like, here are the new circumstances. Here's a plan that I think will work. I think this is safe. I think we could easily manage to reopen the service in a limited capacity, regain some of that engineering spirit, and overall make students' lives happier, more interesting, social, like encourage more social interactions in a safe, positive way. That's what I would hope to see at Clark Hall. That's what I hope to see happen sometime next year. Really depends when, hard to say. For the tea room, I think the tea room did a fantastic job of running as close to in-person as they possibly could last year. I hope that their team has developed lots of great tools for both dealing with the university and being safe. I personally went there and I felt incredibly safe the entire time. It was very well managed, very well handled. I think continuing to develop the tools that they have made, worked with the people who did it last year, would be a fantastic way of keeping the tea room open in some capacity. If the tea room can't open in any capacity, the tea room has the advantage of not distributing alcohol, so they can do a lot of social events where you can do like a tea night or like, I don't know, something like that, just to keep student morale up, keep engagement up. I think that's very achievable.
Awesome, thank you. Again, I will take rebuttal if anyone would like one. Everyone's good? Cool. So the next question. You both mentioned leveraging information technology in your platforms. How will you work to deliver IT processes and applications that deliver value to students and can be maintained long term? Salma, you have the time.
Just want to check, is it me or Ben? Because I went first last time.
I'm a liar. You're right. It is Ben. I reset the time. Ben, you have the time.
All right, awesome. So in high school, I did a lot of IT and web development for long-term IT processes. The application I was in charge of building was a fitness tracking, health tracking application for the gym students in my high school. I think that knowledge base and understanding sort of what it takes to build an application like that would make it very easy for me to work with the director of IT and their teams, because I understand what they're doing. I understand the problems they're going to run into. I understand what it takes to do database management, what it takes to like run HTML scripts, common problems that they're going to come across. I think that would go a long way to helping ensure that the apps we develop are both meaningful, useful for the students, intuitive in terms of their design, and able to be developed for the long term. Thank you.
Awesome. Salma, now you have the time.
Thank you. So I feel like the answer to this question is kind of, there's two aspects to it. So firstly, the communication aspect. So our IT operations depend a lot on AMS IT and Queen's IT. So they're in charge of our email servers. They're in charge of our like SSO certificates and things like that. So great communication with our IT, the IT provided to us by the university and the AMS is very important to make sure that those things are long lasting and that we're constantly updating them, constantly making sure that they are long lasting and effective. The second aspect is hiring people who are passionate about the things that they will be working on and that they have ideas that will improve and benefit students. Passion-driven projects, those are things that were super important. Like the EngSoc website was derived out of passion. Just someone thought it would be great to have an EngSoc website, and that's like our main way of communicating with a lot of people. And another part of communication is also having our IT team use Bitbucket or GitLab or GitHub to put all the work that they do in one place so that it's so much easier to transition from the previous team to the next team to the next team, and that it is long lasting and easy to transition. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so now again, I'll take time for rebuttal if anyone would like one. Okay. So the next question. Vice President Operations tends to be a very technically focused role. However, if elected, you'll be one of the primary representatives of engineering students to all major stakeholders. How do you believe that advocacy fits into your portfolio, and how will you ensure that you are acting in the best interests of students? Salma, you have the time.
Thank you, Zaid. I have, as I mentioned before, I have a lot of experience when it comes to advocacy. My first year in EngSoc was as a webmaster, where I didn't really need to attend council, but I attended it and went as often as I could, just even as a general member. I really enjoy listening to people's concerns, listening to people's opinions on how we should run the society. In my second year, I did AMS representative, and I was very, very proud to represent Sci 22 at AMS Assembly and stand up with my fellow AMS representatives and the exec at the time to fight for what we believe in and fight for our fellow engineering students and advocate for them. I think it's very important, even as where it's more technical and less human-based. There's always a human-based aspect. The technical stuff comes with people, and people are why we do the things we do. People are why we created the Bank of EngSoc. People are why we have our EngSoc website, for example. At the core of it, it's all people. And I intend to, if elected, I intend to go to all meetings with the intention of bringing the point of view of an engineering student to the tables, whether it be like faculty board, whether it be advisory board. All of these places are great opportunities for me, if I'm elected as VPOPS, to show people why we care about our positions and why we care about advocating for our fellow engineering students.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So Ben, you have the time now.
Awesome, yeah. So yes, VPOPS, as Salma said amazingly actually, is a very technically focused role, but all of the problems that I've heard experienced by VPOPS have been very person-based. You're dealing with people, you're meeting with people. That's what the job is. Yes, you need to know what you're doing in terms of the tech aspect, but it's always about the people in the end of the day. Advocating for people is something that I have not yet done in the engineering society, but something that I would be very passionate about. Bringing all of the groups in the engineering society together to come up with solutions for our problems is how I would run my ED team. My own platform talks about this. So like advocating for what the students like. The students like the ILC. It's a great place to learn. It's a great place to make friends. It's a great place to get work done. I want to advocate for getting that open. I want to fight to get the things open that we want to be open next year in a safe manner. It's the same with Clark, it's the same with the tea room, it's the same with CEO, it's the same with all of the services. I will be advocating for you to have the best experience as a student you can. The Engineering Society has made my experience as a student so much better than it would be, and it's why I'm glad I go to this university instead of another university. I will fight tooth and nail to make everybody else's experience as good as my experience has been in the Engineering Society.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So again, oh, you would like rebuttal? Cool, your time.
I'm not sure. Can I use rebuttal as like a addition kind of thing?
Absolutely. Go for it.
I think on top of advocating for people to have their physical spaces that we're so used to, like the ILC and Mitchell and all that stuff, I think it's also important to advocate for social issues. And I think it's something that we don't focus on enough in operations, where diversity of thought, diversity of experience, and having a team that comes from all different backgrounds and different experiences is so important to producing great work and having a great team working together. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Because there was a rebuttal, you also get time as well, Ben. So
yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. And when I talk about bringing groups together to advocate for the student body isn't one person, right? The student body is a collective group of people who all come from different places. And I think they should all be included in that conversation when we talk about students' needs and students' wants. That was a great point, Solomon.
Awesome. Thank you both. Okay, to the next question. What would you do to improve sustainability within the engineering society? Ben, you have the time.
Okay, yeah, so sustainability, I think a lot of the problems in terms of sustainability that we've seen is people running into problems of like debt or not having enough information to do their job correctly. that's not very sustainable. If you don't understand how to do your job correctly, you're likely not going to transition your lower well. And that's going to lead to a decay of the overall services that we see in the engineering society and the quality of the services that we see. So I think helping facilitate that transition between the two, between virtual and in-person operations is vital to increasing sustainability. I also think you could take sustainability in a number of different ways. Sustainability on like an ecological front, encouraging things like the Tea Room, who have done a great job in being eco-friendly and increasing things like that within the engineering society, could be amazing to apply on a wider scale. The Tea Room doesn't have to be the only group that are committed to being incredibly sustainable. I think that is easily applied to other places within the engineering society and other services within the engineering society.
Awesome, thank you very much. Salma, you have the time.
Thank you. So I think of sustainability in I'll talk about it in two different ways: in sustainability in our services and sustainability in our finances. So in our services, I think it's so important for us, as I bring it back to my platform point, the second one, which is long-term strategic planning, working with advisory board, working with service managers to make sure that all of the things we do in our year and all the decisions we make are put towards making sure our services stay open, stay viable, stay sustainable, stay useful for our engineering students, and provide a good service for those people, because at the end of the day, those are the people we are providing the service to. And then secondly, sustainability in terms of finances. One of the things that was, because of the pandemic, we had to stop sending out physical checks, and that's one of the things that we had to kind of adapt to, and we had to start sending out e-transfers only. And that actually had a very big impact, like environmentally, because back in-person events, we would have to print out checks twice a week, which is a lot of checks for twice a week. And they would have to be physically delivered to us, to the EngSoc lounge from the bookkeeper's office. So that's also greenhouse gas emissions, and having someone drive from somewhere to somewhere twice a week for just like checks is a lot. And being able to improve our e-transfer reimbursement process is going to help in that regard so much, which is one of my goals for if I'm elected as vice president.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I will take a rebuttal if anyone has one. No? Okay. So that's actually all of my listed questions. So we're going to get into a little fun segment now. So I will, before the debates, I asked each of the candidates to provide me a question for the other candidate. So Salma, I will give you, I have it down, but I'll give you the chance if you'd like to read it to Ben, or I can say it. Okay, I can say it. I can just
whichever. I don't mind.
Sure, I'll just say it. It's probably easier that way. Okay, so Ben, this is for you. So Salma's question to you is: what style of leadership do you think is best during a time of uncertainty, such as the pandemic? Your time begins now.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Salma. I think my managerial style is actually very well catered to this. I think something I really would focus on in the beginning of hiring my ED team, if I'm elected, would be fostering that environment that my portfolio, yes, this is what my portfolio is, but just because that's what the piece of paper says that I am doing every week doesn't mean that's where my job ends, right? If I'm having a busy week, I would hope that you would come and help me with my work. And I would actively tell my ED team if I am light this week. I don't have a lot going on this week. If you're swamped and need help, let me know. That is, I think, the managerial style you need to have in a time like COVID, because people are dealing with lots of different things that they wouldn't be dealing with in a normal year. Mental health problems are at an all-time high, right? Like, supporting your ED team in every way you possibly can, and the manager teams as well, is the best managerial style you could possibly have. When I've worked in 2 professional kitchens as a cook now over the last 3 summers, and I would be online. And the way kitchens work nowadays is you have these screens and they have each individual order on them. Sometimes, so the orders come up and they start off as white tickets. They go to green tickets, and then to orange tickets, and then to red tickets. A red ticket means that it's urgent. Sometimes you'll be there and your entire screen will be full of red tickets. You are swamped. The person next to you looks over and goes, wow, this guy is drowning right now, and steps in and helps them. That is what I did in the restaurant, and that is how I would manage my team in as the VPOPS. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. So Salma, you asked the question, but you also get time. So your 3 minutes starts now.
So even during normal non-pandemic times, leadership isn't never easy. And so with this new environment that we're in, all leaders are adapting to a new way of interacting with their teams. And in times of crisis, leaders need to be able to act quickly, but do it rationally and with well thought out intention. They need to be able to be flexible in their plans, establish and maintain clear communication with team members, and most importantly, lead with compassion. That's my main thing, leading with compassion. You need to work with your team to assess the situation, balance each other's strengths and weaknesses, and create a plan that's not only going to benefit your organization, but take into account the mental and physical well-being of the people working in your organization, including yourself. Leading with compassion means considering that the pandemic we're in can be mentally, emotionally, and physically draining for some. And so we need to take the needs of the people we're working with into consideration with every step of the way, and be on the lookout for burnout to support each other when we need it. So.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I will also take a rebuttal for this question. Nope. Okay. So next, vice versa. Ben, this is Ben's question to Salma. So, Salma, if you are elected and first semester next year is still online, how will you keep students engaged in services, maintain engineering spirit, and help develop the professional skills of students? Your time begins now.
That's a great question. Thank you, Ben. I think the most important thing, well, one of the main things in my platform as well is improving our marketing strategies. We have an issue of where we think engineering is just us, but it's not. It's also the entire Queens community, and being able to communicate that and market ourselves as more than just the tea room. We're not just the tea room. We're as environmentally sustainable, zero waste cafe in the heart of the ILC, and we can market that. We can use that to bring more people in. We can use that to improve our communication with not just engineering students, and but also on a campus-wide way. And if we're online in the first semester, that gives us more of an opportunity to look at what we do as a society and what we do as services, and improve upon that. Take a deeper look into, in person, what would we typically do? And how can we make that better for next year? Or how can we make that better for the winter semester if that is going to be in person? So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ben, you get to respond to your own question. Your time begins now.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So I think keeping students engaged has been very difficult this last year. I am even a victim of that myself. I have not been nearly as engaged with things that I used to be engaged with as I have before. I think the Engineering Society and the people in the Engineering Society this year have done a very good job with the hand that they were dealt. It was not a fun time, I can imagine. But I think now that we're expecting it, we can make it way more fun. I've talked about a lot of this stuff before, but advocating for the needs of students, right? Advocating for, if Stauffer Library is open, I think the ILC could also be open in a similarly safe fashion. Stuff like that goes a long way to boosting morale, maintaining mental health, just overall engaging the students and keeping them like in that engineering spirit. I think the things that are going on right now with developing a online, hybrid, and potential in-person a week all at the same time, the things that they're doing to look at what you can do depending on the circumstances come September are all great things that we should continue to do and apply on a wider basis across the engineering society.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I'll now take a rebuttal. If anyone is interested in rebuttal. Cool.
Totally agree.
Okay. Okay, well, that is all of the question. So we've also, among the elections team, have decided to end it there just because that those are fantastic answers and just for time's sake, because we do have another position. So we're just going to go straight into the closing here. So Ben, you get your 5-minute closing and your time starts now.
Awesome, yeah. So this once again, my name is Benjamin Frosst. I've been involved in the Engineering Society every year I've been here. The Engineering Society has done so much to develop me both personally and professionally. I want to continue giving those experiences and facilitating those experiences for other people within the Engineering Society. My experiences with Orientation Week, everything I've learned about finances, all of that is stuff I would have never been able to experience if it hadn't been for the people before me who have run the Engineering Society as well as they have. I think I have a very unique set of skills that is very well catered towards the Vice President of Operations portfolio. And I think it would make me a good candidate and a good VPOPS. Just to recap what my platform is, I think COVID reopening in a safe, effective manner is very possible, while also would do great things for the students at Queens in terms of, I've said it over and over again, mental health, student engagement, student wellness, academic success. I think it would be just awesome. And I think we can do it safely. It's just a question of what things look like month to month, because things change every minute and every time. A lot of things on top, oh, my other 2 points, sorry, wow, got sidetracked there. Long range planning. So as I've said, making the budgets better and giving people better advice when they start their portfolios and their managerial positions in EngSoc would go a long way to making EngSoc more sustainable, more debt-free, more debt independent. And by streamlining the advisory board to give this data in a more usable manner would do a lot for the Engineering Society in the long run. This is a multi-year project that I would be starting this summer if I am elected, and I think would be very beneficial to everybody who is either in the society or takes part in the services of the society. That also goes with my third pillar of automation, which would do a lot of things for all the people working in the society, making their jobs easier and generally making them happier. And happy managers makes happy students, because if you're having fun at work, people are going to be having fun going to your work. The general things I want to do with my ED team and the Engineering Society in general is recover some of that engineering spirit, have the ED team like more of a family that it's been in the years past. Even if it's online, I still want to try and facilitate that. And I think those are both very doable. So please vote for me. I think I have a great set of experiences and ideas, and I wish Salma all the best of luck and all the other candidates the best of luck too. Thank you very much. Please vote for Ben Frosst, VPOPS.
Thank you very much. Salma, your time begins now.
I'd like to use this time to summarize my platform and changes that I would like to implement in our operations if I'm elected. So firstly, transitioning back to in-person events. This is going to require lots of cooperation between EngSoc, the AMS, university, and faculty. If elected, I aim to work with the incoming and outgoing executive team to advocate for student interests and reintroduce our services to on-campus events with the priority of ensuring students and staff alike are as safe as possible. Services are going to need a huge amount of support during this time, especially because a lot of them have not been fully operational this past year. This is where I would like to focus a lot of my time on during the summer if I'm elected. Transitioning roles is going to be difficult, and a lot of things will need to be learned on the job as well. The best way to get through this is to ensure we have a great and open communication with the director of services, all the directorships really, and all the service managers and staff. Long-term strategic planning, one silver lining to the pandemic in terms of our services is that it affords us some time to really reevaluate our operations from the way we do things operationally, like transitioning to the way we evaluate long-term success. If elected, I want to work closely with advisory board and service managers to do two things. One, help and support service managers in implementing their vision for the service that they are hired to run, whether it be creative, artistic, business-minded, or operational. It's so important to respect a service manager's autonomy in the service they run, and that is one thing I would like to do. The second thing is balance that knowledge and long-term planning goals set by advisory board and service managers so that our services can remain operational and viable for years and years to come. One of the things that the pandemic gave us as well was needing to avoid crowded areas, specifically referring to the tea room. Because of this, the current team introduced the Ritual app, which allows students to pre-order and pick up immediately. And this option was possibly not considered before the pandemic, and it gave us something new that we can implement and we can even keep after the pandemic, as it can shorten lines in the ILC. We can also take it a step further, and we can implement Flex Dollar program to cater to more, to all students, especially first-year students, and it'll increase tea room sales. Finally, improving upon our financial processes. Currently, we're unable to distribute physical checks because of the in-person restrictions and limited access to the ILC, and this left us really needing to use the e-transfer system provided to us by BMO, which is great for a small number of transactions that need to be sent out discreetly, but it was not built to handle the large amount of transactions that the society and businesses need to complete on a daily basis. It's slow, time-consuming, and extremely tedious for VPOPS to do. I believe there's definitely a way to either automate or improve this process, and it greatly reduces the load put on VPOPS and makes it quicker for people to receive their reimbursements. The best way to deal with this is to improve our communication with our client service officer at BMO. At the end of the day, if we improve this process significantly, it can replace the system we had previously, which was efficient but not environmentally sustainable, as I mentioned before, as it requires printing a large number of checks twice a week, which wastes paper and needs transportation from the bookkeeper's office to the EngSoc lounge, which increases greenhouse emissions unnecessarily. If elected, I want to leverage my personal and professional experience as a director of finance to support the incoming director team, and you can see more details of that on my campaign Instagram at Selma4VPOPS. Again, thank you everyone for coming, and to the elections team for their efforts. Thank you to my opponent, Ben, for contributing to this awesome debate of ideas. I'm honored to get the chance to go up against you. If you'd like to know more about my platform, please follow my campaign Instagram at Selma4VPOPS, or like my campaign Facebook page. I have all my plans for each directorship portfolio detailed there, and my DMs email is always open. If anyone ever has any questions, I'd love to get to talk to more people about this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so from me to both of you, good luck. Thank you for a fantastic debate. I personally loved all of your answers. So yeah, I think I speak on behalf of the entire elections committee and everyone watching at home that, you know, we're looking forward to see your platform, and we're looking forward to vote. So the two of you have an amazing evening. Alrighty. So with that, we are going to move on to the next item on our itinerary, which is the junior senator debates. So this will be the exact same method and everything. So I put in the names in a random generator, and Luka is going first. I'm just gonna go get right into it. Luka, your 5-minute time starts now.
All right. Hello, my name is Luka Clancy, and hopefully I'll be your next junior senator. This position comes with the honor of representing you, the student body, on the Senate, and it's with this honor that I hope to make your time at Queen's University as fun, memorable, and healthy as possible. With that in mind, I'd like to go over a few strong beliefs of mine with all of you. My first and foremost belief is preserving engineering traditions. The grease pole and last man standing, among other events, are great traditions that build bonds of camaraderie and help us grow as people and in confidence. Despite this, there's been talk in recent years that these events may be restricted. As junior senator, I promise that I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that these traditions are upheld and untouched. My second policy involves integrating our friends, the international students, further into the engineering community. Unfortunately, as some of you may have noticed, there's not the same deep connection between the foreign students and many of the Canadian students as there is between all of us Canadians. This is unacceptable, and as junior senator, I plan to take initiatives to help bridge this gap and let us all be a unified and happy engineering community. My final proposal is one that I think will resonate with each and every one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, an entire generation of Frosh missed out on our beloved Frosh Week and all the magnificent events that come with it. This is terrible, and they deserve some sort of recompensation. I promise, as junior senator, I will reach out to every single administration member, if I have to try to help and ensure that these Frosh can get the opportunity to experience these events in year to come. I assure you, silly Froshies, you're well looked after and we all care about you. I look forward to a great debate tonight, and I wish good luck to my opponent, Shashank. Remember, vote Luka Clancy for junior senator. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Shashank, your time begins now.
Hey guys, my name is Shashank and I'm also running for junior senator. And before I begin, I'd like to ask you guys, what does it mean to be an excellent junior senator? And it's teamwork. The type of junior senator that Queens need is someone that understands this concept to the fullest. Someone that has experience working with a diverse range of individuals and understands how to represent the voice of the student population to all Queens officials and other senates. We need someone that can preserve the Queens traditions and will never give up until every voice in Queens is heard. Someone that cares about every student at Queens. My name is Shashank Ojha, yeah, like from the movie Shawshank Redemption, and I know I'm that man. Even though I'm a first year, and even though it's COVID, I've already tried my hardest to be as involved as possible in the Queens community and getting to know and connect with many individuals as possible. In the 6 months that I've been in this wonderful university, I've already worked in 2 design teams. I'm a first year representative in EngSoc and AMS, and I've participated in events like intramurals simply because I love the community and will do anything in my ability to make it better and more engaging. Even during the summer, even with COVID, I hosted weekly engineering Zoom calls with other first-year engineering students to get to know my class better. And I will have that same eagerness to get to know every engineer and understand their concerns. Let me just say, being involved in these diverse ranges of facilities and activities at Queens, I assure you that if you entrust me with your vote, I will not only work day and night to make your Queens experience as successful and as accommodable as possible, but I'll also do it with an open mind to all questions and concerns that you guys have. In my experience at Queens so far, I've realized that we engineers work hard, but we're also very unique, more unique than any other university in Canada, in the sense that we value our interpersonal skills and connections just as much as your academics. As your Senate, I will emphasize in pushing towards student mental health and workloads and suggest ways and ideas to make our year more flourishing and diverse with opportunities. I would like to discuss mental health support very vividly with the other senates and have more facilities available where you can talk if you feel isolated or lonely, especially with COVID. I know that a lot of us felt alone and isolated as a lot of us didn't get the campus experience, and I would really like to advocate for reintroducing the campus experience that we missed on, as well as allowing individuals to feel like they're welcomed. I will also focus on providing better study spaces, as I know it's very difficult to find an area to study and read in currently in areas like Mitchell Hall and Macintosh, as most of the seats are taken. So I'm going to push to have more study spaces available. And any other suggestions that you guys have, if you guys just message me in my Instagram or my email, which is up there, I will address it and I will fight for everything that you need. Now, the junior senator is a very important and powerful position, and if you entrust me with that, whether there's a pandemic or whether it's a regular school year next year, I will deliver and work day and night to put up a fight until all your voices are represented. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for the openings. So with that, we are going to move into our questions. All of the questions are different than the Vice President Operations questions. In fact, all the questions for every position is different, except for this first question. This is the exact same as the first question for the last debate. So Luka, you're up first. Talk about one actionable item for each of your campaign pillars and describe them in detail. Your 3 minutes begin now.
Sure. Well, the first pillar I talked about was about preserving traditions in engineering and in Frost Week. And this is obviously more of a reactionary thing. We already have them now, and we just want to keep them here. So what I can promise each and every one of you is that when I'm in the Senate, should this dark day ever come where they're talking about removing the grease pole or hindering any sort of engineering tradition, I'll vote against it, absolutely. But I'll also deliver one heck of a speech, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that these traditions remain upheld. As for my second pillar, which is about integrating international students further into our community, I want to reach out to the organizers of the international students. I imagine they have some sort of person who kind of helps them get integrated into Canada. And through them, we can help encourage them to reach out and talk to more of the locals. We can talk about some of, the customs in Canada to help bridge that sort of cultural gap, right? And I'd love to see just, everyone together with no groups from different countries. It'd be great to have just a nice melting pot, And my last action is regarding getting some sort of Frost Week experience for the Frost this year who've been so unlucky and they've missed out on it. With that, I plan to talk to the faculty, speak with the administration. It might be tough to do everything, but we're going to try, and we're going to try to talk about maybe we can slip them into Grease Pole with the other Frost next year. Maybe we can help integrate the Frost Week. I'm going to reach out to my peers and everyone I can, and we're going to try to get as many of these events done as possible. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Shashank, your time begins now.
Thank you. I would like to say, to begin, my main pillars are mental health and student opportunities at Queen's, as that is kind of what sets us apart, our ability to work together in teams and work with each other instead of against each other. And all my work in the Student Senate will revolve around that. Specifically with mental health, I want to open up more, I want to push to have things like free tea every month for anyone that needs it, or like upper year students that'll talk to frecs like Froshes or like second years about problems that they may have. These facilities and these environments where we create this welcoming, opening experience will allow a lot of the first years that missed out on the first year experience to feel more welcome, and allow for anyone that's ever stressed, that has had a lot of difficulties with COVID, feel more welcomed into the environment, as I do know a lot of people feel isolated. I would also like to comment on the Frost Week idea. I think that is excellent, and I would definitely support that too. I'm currently applying to be a FREC, so I would also advocate for that. But my main two pillars would be mental health and making sure every student feels welcomed and involved in the community, as well as opening up facilities and resources such as more study spaces, more areas to engage safely, but still have that engagement process after lockdown ends. And I will push and fight day and night until we get our Queen's experience that a lot of us missed out on and a lot of us want back. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So at this time, I will take a rebuttal. If anyone is interested. No. Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
You're good?
No,
okay.
I'm all good.
Okay. Next question. A motion is on the agenda for the next Senate meeting, which you believe would negatively affect engineering students if passed. What would you do about this? Shashank, you have the time.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A motion is on the agenda for the next Senate meeting, which you believe would negatively affect engineering students if passed. What would you do about this?
I believe emotion is something that shouldn't necessarily be avoided or pushed in for someone. I believe it's something that we should talk about and be able to understand more. So if emotions on the agenda,
let me just quickly yeah, it's not emotion, it's a motion, like an item on the agenda at a Senate meeting. Just for the clarification.
Oh, sorry, your time
resets now.
Okay. Yeah, well, if it negatively affects the engineering students, I would personally do everything in my power to voice the concerns of the engineering students. I know I will be in the AMS, I will be in the Engineering Society, and I'll be in the Senate. So I will be around a diversity of opinions and concerns. And I've been throughout my high school year, I've been able to communicate with students internationally because I did a lot of VEX robotics. So I've been able to work from people not only around Canada, but all around the world. So with that experience, I know that I can't promise that I can dismiss the motion, but I know that I can argue and bring up points that affect the engineering students and how that would affect the rest of the campus as well, and make sure that I come up with the best solution I can to the problem, the best compromise to the problem to benefit us and the campus in general. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Luka, you have the time.
Well, I think the first thing I would do is announce it to my fellow engineers. You know, there's a lot of power in numbers and the voice of all of us students. So if this was something that was really important and it was going to hinder the engineering community, you bet I'm reaching out to everyone, every class I can, and we can get a petition going, some sort of protest, something so we make the university realize that this really bothers us and we need to be heard. As for what I do in the Senate, well, I'd start talking with my other senators because obviously there's a vote at the end of the day. And maybe I could convince some of them on our side to join our side. And then the last thing I do is really when I'm in the Senate is just, you know, speaking my heart out, really. Put everything, fight tooth and nail, really give a pitch to see how this harms the engineers and show them how much we care and how much it matters to us. And ideally, that'd be able to convince enough senators to side with us and scrap the motion.
Awesome. Thank you very much. At this time, I'll take a rebuttal. Okay, no, awesome. We can move on to the next question. So, if you had the ability to implement any new initiative, ignoring any cost, effort, or time restrictions, what would you implement? Luka, you have the time.
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I think something that I've found has lacked here at Queen's is there aren't as many interest clubs as I would have hoped. And you know that might seem daft to some people because it's not necessarily, you know, a very deep or a politically rooted thing. But I'm a big hobbyist, and I think, you know, going out and if there's a club for a certain sport, a wrestling club, a tennis club, I know there's certain intramurals, but you know, maybe literature. These are the things that break up your week. It's a lot of fun. It helps you meet new people, and it leads to stuff that you'll remember. So I feel like really there aren't enough of these, and I'd love to see some sort of motion put forward where we can help make opening a new club and getting funding more accessible to students.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Shashank, you have the time.
As I know, with this opportunity, if it was provided to me, I would focus on tuition. And I know that the tuition's high and there might not be a way to change that, but if there was, I would fight for it and try to make it less, especially with online school year. I think the tuition was way too much for an online school year. But on top of this, even if I can't change the tuition, I would use those resources to find more jobs available and more job fairs available for every engineering student. As currently I'm looking for jobs, and I know a lot of my first year engineering students are also looking for jobs as well as upper years, and having more abilities and resources to help us connect with the right people to find the jobs that we enjoy would definitely help us in the future to be more successful, as well as help us develop our intrapersonal skills, like I mentioned before, to stand out as a Queen student and stand out as being prominent at communicating compared to any other university in Canada. So I would definitely focus on finding ways to reduce tuition and get us the connections and the experiences that Queen students have in a more accessible manner.
Awesome, thank you. So this time again, I will take a rebuttal. Lovely. Okay, next question then. Many of the important initiatives of the Engineering Society are large and require multi-year efforts. How will you work to ensure coordination and execution of long-term efforts and strategies of the Engineering Society? Shashank, you have the time.
Well, the Senate is the 2-year term, so I will have 2 years to definitely start a project. And even if I can't finish it within those 2 years, I would still be able to start it and at least halfway finish it. So within those 2 years, if I receive the position right when I get it, I will have conducted surveys and I would have seen what all the engineering students want from Queens. And after that, I would see which one of those are the most attainable, and I would start creating a timeline about how I could receive these goals that these students want. And this is definitely the brainstorm and the SMART goals method, where you plan and then you make a timeline, is so important to getting the goals. I've been doing this for my entire life, and I've been able to meet most of my deadlines because of this ability that I have to plan long term, to think about which university I'm going to go from, like, the 9th grade. And I know I will be able to use the same SMART goal decisions that I've been able to use throughout my life to come up with to accomplish any goal that the engineering faculty wants for as their Senate. So
awesome, thank you. Luka, you have the time.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think really it's all about mentorship. You know, we have great people in EngSoc. I've already reached out to Jeremy, our senior senator, and really getting these long multi-year acts passed and having them accomplished effectively. It's all about building out EngSoc and reaching to that year below you and, you know, mentoring them and teaching them how things are done, showing them the ropes really. And things like this even, you know, just getting together, good competition, getting all the right people in EngSoc, and then building it up from the bottom. Just teaching, passing on the knowledge. I think that's really what counts.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So again, at this time, I will take a rebuttal. No one? Okay. So I'll go on to the last question of my list. COVID-19 presented many unprecedented challenges for the Engineering Society in the past 2 years. How will you manage and respond to expected challenges that arise at Council due to COVID-19? How will you represent these concerns to the Senate? Luka, your time begins now.
I see. And by council, you mean Engineering Council for EngSoc?
Yes,
right?
the Engineering Society Council.
Okay. Well, when times like that come, and I expect they will come because we're all going through very difficult things right now, the first thing we'll do, obviously, is speak amongst the council. You know, what's everyone's opinion? How do we feel? And if this is a bigger issue, we can always reach out to the student body too. And from then on, you know, it's about bringing it to the Senate and then expressing our opinion to the Senate. You know, in this sort of democratic system we have at our university, that's really the best and the most effective thing we can do. Of course, if we need new information, we can talk with experts, we can reach out, write emails, find everything we need to do. And I think I really liked what Benjamin had said earlier about constantly reassessing the situation. COVID's been, I mean, it's been tough. It's been really tricky for all of us. And we all want to find ways around it to kind of have our same fun experience. So I think, you know, instead of getting bogged down, if the situation gets better, you know, we reassess and we open up. And constant reassessment, constant analyzing, finding out what's right, what's wrong, talking amongst ourselves. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Shashank, you have the time.
With a specific time of uncertainty like this, I do believe versatility is the key. And in the sense that you need the Senate that even if COVID doesn't end next year, you need a Senate that will accommodate, listen to the student body, listen to everyone's opinions, and come up with, listen to Engineering Society, see everything they have to say, see their plans, and bring them up to the Senate to find the most feasible and best way to come up with solutions. I know like Benjamin and Salma, they really cared about student interactions, and that is something that I believe a lot of like engineering society members and a lot of the student body right now require and need more student interaction, more ways for us to connect with their peers, because in COVID specifically, isolations have made it very hard for mental health. And items like that, we can be versatile. And even if we're remote next year, I could bring it up to the Senate and tell them that we want better virtual programs, better Zoom calls. Even the Frost week that happened this year, it was virtual and the attendance wasn't that good. So better planning and stuff like that is definitely needed. And that comes with versatility and being able to see a challenge and not like see it as a problem, but try to find the best solution you can, and thinking fast on your feet and being able to hear everyone's opinion at the same time. I believe that's the key to solving most of these issues.
Awesome, thank you. So I'll take a rebuttal.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Great. So I've run through my list of questions. So now we'll get to the questions that the candidates submitted to me. So we'll begin with Shashank's question to Luka. So Luka, this is for you. Being a junior senator takes a lot of initiative and commitment to the Queens community. During this pandemic year, have you taken any specific extracurricular initiatives to safely be involved and improve the quality of our community?
Yeah, I have. I have to admit, some of them have been on the small scale, but I've definitely, I'm always reaching out to my peers. For example, I'm the event coordinator on the Engineering Physics Student Council. So we tried to get together an ultimate Frisbee team that was socially distanced so that everyone could kind of come out and get to know each other. So yeah, I made the effort. I went out to all the team meetings and games that I could, and it was a really fun time. And honestly, I made a few friends, so it was great. On a personal level, I've just been trying my best to, find things to do with my housemates, my isolated groups. We started a D&D campaign. If you've ever tried that, it's a lot of fun. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. So Shashank, you get to also respond to your question, your own question. So your time begins now.
Yeah, even during COVID, I have definitely, it's obviously not ideal being a first year, missing out on the physical Frost Week experience. And I've definitely tried to make the best of it. As I've mentioned before, I'm currently on 2 design teams. I'm a mechanical lead in one of them. I'm also the AMS rep, and I have been doing intramurals. I'm currently signed up for badminton, and I've been doing ultimate Frisbee. On top of that, I've also started a lot of engineering group chats with a bunch of the first year representatives, which have, and like the first years, like over the summer, I hosted a bunch of Zoom calls, which usually had around 30 to 40 members, just to get to know my community better. And I know that even in this time of uncertainty, the same like positive attitude to make the best of the situation, to find ways to engage as much of the engineering community as I can, will be a value and a trait of mine that I will always hold on to and push as much as I can to make it the best for our community over here. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. So I'll take a rebuttal if there is one. I don't think so. So I'll go then to the next question, which is from Luka to Shashank. So Shashank, this is for you. How do you feel about current engineering Frost Week traditions, and how do you feel they should return post-COVID-19? Your time begins now.
Personally, when I first came to Queens and I saw these Frost Week material traditions, we were all excited for it. The Frex engaged us so much. We were all thinking about, oh, we want to do the grease pole. And it was definitely a letdown when we realized that we wouldn't be able to do that. I definitely think all our tradition, all those bars that we have should be something that makes us unique, that not many other universities do. And I completely agree. I will never let these traditions go. I will always fight for them. I will always keep them and improve on them and make it equal. And on top of that, I will help create and start new traditions that people might be interested in, perhaps making more inclusive opportunities, perhaps like even virtually with Frost Week right now, there's a lot of talks with the FRECs about having a hybrid Frost Week from what my friends told me in the FREC community. So if that happens, I believe it's very important that even with a hybrid Frost Week, we should still have some of the traditions like the grease pole, even if it's less people at a time, and have those traditions really done as much as we can given provincial COVID protocols. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you very much. Luka, you get to answer your own question, so your time begins now.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, Shashank, and I'm glad to hear that no matter what happens, we have someone who really looks out for all of our traditions. But I feel they're just wonderful. You know, Frost Week for me last year was probably one of the most memorable moments in my whole life. You know, when I think about why I was coming to Queen's for engineering, you know, there are other universities, U of T, Waterloo, obviously not Western. But a lot of these activities and the experiences and this family-like culture that I heard about at Queen's, that was what drew me here. That's what made me want to come, and that's what's led me to meet all the friends I have today. So I think after COVID, we're going to come back, and we're going to come back with all the same traditions, and we're going to come back better. And honestly, I can't wait, because I think it's going to be amazing for absolutely everyone.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I will take a rebuttal.
I just want to comment that I'm glad that both the Senate candidates are pushing for a very good Frost Week for our students, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad about that. But yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so with that, we have room for one question. So we do have one question. It'll be our last one. And it's actually from Jeremy, the next year's senior senator. So as a student senator, you'll be working alongside senators from other faculties. How will you make sure that the student voice is presented in a united front at Senate meetings? Luka, you have the time.
That's a good question, really, because you know, obviously you get a lot of different characters from different faculties. But I think one of the great things that's going to unite all of us when we're talking about these motions and working in the Senate is that, you know, despite our faculty differences, a lot of us all just want the same things. You know, we want to have a fun, a healthy, a memorable time here at Queen's. And I try my best to be an open guy. I mean, I know plenty of people in arts, education, all the other faculties, and they're great people too. So I don't see there being much trouble with, you know, coordinating ourselves. I'm sure we can make a group chat and talk amongst each other, because he's right. Having a unified student body, it stands out a lot more, and it gives us a lot more power. It makes us more present in the Senate. So I think that's something we should aim for, and I think it's something we're going to achieve.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Shashank, you have the time.
All right. I believe that every Senate that's going to be represented there has the same goal, and that is to make the Queen's experience as flourishable and as best as possible for their students. And usually with a bunch of individuals that have the exact same goal, we're able to compromise, and as long as we listen with an open mind, we're able to understand their opinions and their needs for their faculties and combine with them with ours to have a united front. Because in the end of the day, we're all students at Queen's. We all take a lot of pride to be at Queen's. It is a very prestigious university to go to, and I believe every faculty has respect for one another in that sense. So as long as we have that respect and open-mindedness, I believe we can tackle any problem. So additionally, with COVID, a lot of our goals align even more than usual, as all of us are feeling isolated and don't have as much social interaction. So if we can work together and kind of understand that we all want the same thing for our different faculties, I believe we will have a very strong and united front when we tackle the oncoming issues that we're going to face because of COVID-19 and recovering and rebounding from it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I guess then for the last time, I'll ask for a rebuttal. No rebuttals. Cool. Okay. So with that, then that will be the end of our question period. So we're going to go straight into our closing. So Shashank, you have the floor and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. A junior senator representing the engineering population should be someone that really appreciates and knows the value of being a Queens engineer. Someone that won't reduce their involvement in Queens that's because of challenges and will try even harder to engage the community. Our senator must understand that being an engineer at Queens is unlike any university, as we work together to be successful rather than compete against each other. That is why being a Queens engineer means so much to me and why I picked Queens. And these are the values that I'm going to bring to the table as a junior senator. If I have this opportunity, I will advocate for more opportunities and environments where we can excel together, work together, and be successful together. I will do this by suggesting to make the campus's mental health programs better and help create more engaging and welcoming environments for all Queens engineers. As a first year living through a pandemic, I understand the importance of an involved and welcoming campus environment more than ever. And trust me when I say that I will be working endlessly to do that. In the 6 months that I've been at Queens, I've already been quite involved, and I continue to be even more involved and continue to voice all your concerns to the Senate. I want to be a senator that makes this university right for you. I want to be someone that you can approach to ask any questions or recommendation and have all your voices heard. I will represent the Queens engineering population, and I'll do it with pride and the love that I have for this university. In fact, my Instagram and my email are on the background over there. So if you guys ever want to email me or about anything from a nice conversation, or just want to chat about anything or voice your concerns, I will listen with an open mind and discuss anything with you guys. Please remember that being the junior senator is a major responsibility, 2 years in fact. And all the senator candidates are quite qualified, and pick the person that makes you feel that your voice is the most represented. And believe me, if I'm junior senator, I will have this fire to make this community better and make sure that we all receive the opportunities that we want. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hear my voice, and thank you to Luka for expressing his as well. And I love this opportunity that I had today, and I look forward to hearing all your voices and opinions in the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Luka, you have 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great debate, and I hope you all enjoyed yourself. Before you leave tonight, I'd like to ask you to consider a few things. Do you believe and cherish our Queens engineering traditions? Do you not want to see them taken away? Do you have those fond memories of last man standing and the grease pole? Do you hope for a unified engineering community where our friends from abroad are no less intimate than those at home? And finally, do you hope to see our Frosh, who have endured so much hardship with COVID, experience a great and awesome Frosh week with all of the events that they've missed? If you answered yes to these questions, well, I think I'm the candidate for you. I invite you all to reach out to me anytime with any of your thoughts and questions. I love to debate and discuss ideas, maybe a little too much if you ask some of my friends. But really, it's my duty to hear your voice, but my absolute pleasure to get to know each and every one of you. So remember, vote Luka Clancy for junior senator. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And that concludes our junior senator debate, which also concludes then our debate night 1. So thank you, everyone, both all of the vice presidential operations candidates and the junior senator candidates. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your campaign. Thank you, everyone at home, for watching. And remember that the Vice President Student Affairs and the presidential debates are on Thursday night at 6:30, so same time they start today. And it's looking like it'll be a good one. So please come to that as well. So with that, then I bid everyone adieu. Have a good evening, and please stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thanks.